A top focus, and starting off with Pakistan's elections. The first set of results has started flowing in from Pakistan, where the closely watched general elections held on Thursday were marred by mobile services suspension, violence and rigging allegations. The three-term Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has won his seat in the National Assembly. He was running from Lahore's NA-130 seat. Sharif bagged over 171,000 votes in the contest. His PMLN party, however, is in a neck-and-neck race with Imran Khan's PTI-backed independents. Both are at a tie with 22 seats each at the moment. Former Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto's PPP is at number 2 with 18 seats. Other parties are now at 4 seats. Results of 200 other constituencies are awaited. Now, Lahore is among the key constituencies to watch for in these elections. Former Prime Minister Imran Khan had also applied to contest from a seat in Lahore itself. Other key constituencies to look out for are Bunair, from where PTI leader Gohar Khan has won, Multan, from where PTI leader Meherbano Qureshi is contesting. She is the daughter of the jailed former Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi. D.I. Khan and Gundapur are months other bellwether seats to look out for. Election results have been delayed by more than 9 hours. The poll body has attributed this delay to internet blackout. Mobile services in the country were suspended as soon as the polls opened on Thursday. Now, the services have only been partially restored as of now. The Election Commission of Pakistan earlier claimed that the suspension would not affect the electoral process and that it was prepared for the same. Now, all these claims have fallen flat now. Meanwhile, all major political parties except PMLN have claimed that the delay in results will lead to rigging and tampering with the mandate. Videos of ballot stuffing and vandalism at some polling station are doing rounds on social media. Amidst of all of this chaos, PTI leader Zartaj Gul claims she was driven out, was fired from the RO office without giving the result. Well, for more on all the updates from the elections, we have with us our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik. Anas, first up, give us the latest. What are you picking up there from location? Where are the results looking to be going now?
Well, it's an extravaganza right now. The election season is coming to an end, almost coming to an end now. And what you see behind me is the media results wall. 67 results have been announced, out of which 23 have been clinched by the independents, 22 have been clinched by the Pakistan People's Party, the 17 seats have been clinched by the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, and 1 each for MQM, the Baluchistan National Party, the Awami Group, Jamiat Ulama Islam Fazlur Rahman Group, and another party as well. That being said, we're awaiting results for about 198 seats as we speak, and we're awaiting results for about 198 seats as we speak. But what this board looks like, it gives a sense that the independents might just be clinching given the initial results that have just come through. Isha?
Okay, Anas, I want to understand, how do you think the international community is viewing the Pakistan elections in the midst of violence, the violent clashes that we have also seen, and of course the rigging allegation? How do you think the international community is going to respond to this and view these elections as?
Well, the rigging allegations were just allegations. There is a remedy available, and that is the election tribunal that goes into motion, kicks off from tomorrow, the 10th and 11th, and is going to receive complaints. With regards to the first part of your question, with regards to the international legitimacy of these elections, vis-a-vis the violence that ensued in the run-up to it, I think on the day of the elections, there were only 2 to 3 incidents of terrorism and not violence, and largely speaking, election-related violence was averted. So that, with international observers being on the ground, that from for the Commonwealth countries, the EU, we had the observers from Uzbekistan, we had observers from Tajikistan and Russia and other countries as well. So largely there would be some sort of semblance of an international legitimacy to these elections, going by the ground statistics that these teams would have observed and would have relayed to their own capitals, and then we would be expecting a report on that. So rigging allegations in Pakistan elections is not something new, but rigging allegations to be substantiated by certain plausible evidence, I think that would take some time. But largely speaking, broadly speaking, in the wider picture, these elections would be widely accepted by the international community by the looks of it. Isha?
Thank you so much, Anas, for joining us with those updates. Well, we'll also now go across to Mr. Sharad Sabharwal, who is a former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan. He was also a former Deputy Permanent Representative of India to the UN in Geneva. Mr. Sabharwal, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. As we were talking to our Pakistan Bureau Chief just now, and we were talking to him about how the international community is going to view these Pakistan elections, where on the one side you have a very good voter turnout, which is representative of the population's trust in the process, and on the other hand, it is marred by the violent clashes that the elections have seen and Pakistan elections over the decades have seen. There are also rigging allegations. So how do you contrast these two? How do you think this is going to be portrayed to the international community?
Well, it's been a very controversial election. Not the rigging that has taken place on the election day. But as you know, the army completely tilted the electoral field against Imran Khan, who incidentally was their favorite in 2018. But this time the field was tilted completely against him. His party was decimated, and yet they seem to be making a good showing through their independence. So it's been a controversial election. The Americans, that's the country that Pakistan will be most concerned about their reaction. As you know, they have been talking of, Pakistan must have free and fair elections, etc., etc. That general points they have made. They have also expressed some concern, I saw today, about suspension of telephone facilities, etc., etc. But as you know, the Biden administration was not very well disposed towards Imran Khan. In fact, he was ousted from power. He started off on an anti-American, anti-army, anti-American, pro-Islamic, etc., etc., and alleged a controversy, a conspiracy between the Americans and the army to oust him from power. So I don't think they would react very strongly to any moves by the Pakistanis to keep at least Imran Khan out. There would be noises made, there would be statements made from the Western world, as they have been made in the past about Pakistani elections. But I think that shouldn't be the main worry of the Pakistanis. Of course, they would be concerned about it because, they need financial assistance from the Western world. Their main worry should be, what does it mean for Pakistan? Pakistan has too many problems. And they need an election which gives them a stable government, which creates political consensus, a government which is capable of dealing with Pakistan's extremely intractable problems. And I'm afraid this election is not going in that direction.
Okay, very interesting point you made there, Mr. Sabharwal. Now, in the list of these problems that you talk about, of course, Pakistan is facing a lot of financial crises as well. As step number 2, we will know the results soon enough. What is the top chore that the next government will have to take care of first up?
Well, there are two major problems. One is the economy, the precarious economy, which means not only improving the lot of the people, inflation has been very high, budget deficits have been very high, but the biggest problem is the external sector, where Pakistan has to repay very large-scale loans over the next 2 to 3 years. According to one figure that I saw, with 1 year which has gone by and 2 years which are yet to come, they have to repay almost $75–77 billion, and they don't have that money to repay. So, the first task will be to persuade their big creditors, which includes China, which includes the Saudis and UAE, etc., these countries to reschedule their debts. B, to revive to continue the facility with the IMF. At the moment, they have a $3 billion facility which ends at the end of March this year. So they'll have to renew that arrangement and take all the steps that the IMF requires them to take. So this is the first one. The second is the rising wave of TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban, Pakistan. They have run into a wall. As far as convincing the Afghan Taliban to take steps against the TTP cadres in Afghanistan goes. In fact, it's quite clear now that the Taliban are not interested in acting effectively against them for 2–3 reasons. One, they have ideological affinity. Two, the TTP cadres fought alongside them to ensure their victory in Afghanistan. Three, I think they are worried also that if they lean too heavily on TTP, then their cadres may gravitate towards Islamic State of Khorasan, ISK, and that is something which would be very troublesome for the Afghan Taliban. So given all these reasons, that is taking a dangerous turn, their relationship with the Afghan Taliban, and that's ironical because they were almost Pakistan's creation and supported by them all along. Then, as you saw, they had a serious clash with Iran. Their relationship with India remains fraught. So these are all the problems that they will have to attend to. But the very first problem is the economy and the law and order situation and terrorism.
Keeping all of that in mind and given your expertise, I would also like to extend this conversation a little further by asking you which administration or party, should it be elected, do you think will be the most effective or instrumental in taking care of all those issues we just spoke about?
Look, it's not my choice or our choice. It's the choice of the people in Pakistan to the extent that their establishment allows them to choose their leaders. I make a general point always, that given Pakistan's internal and external orientation, no prime minister can succeed in Pakistan. Internally, civil-military imbalance, all kinds of problems. He or she has to be to keep on looking over her shoulder, his or her shoulder, to see what the army is thinking. Externally, a fraught relationship with a much bigger and better endowed India, with 10 times the economy of Pakistan, and the gap is growing. That imposes very heavy burdens on Pakistan's economy. Given all these things, which prime minister can succeed? But since you asked me this question, the most experienced person amongst them is Nawaz Sharif, of course. This time the favorite of the army. Whether he makes it or not, things are looking iffy at the moment. He's not only the most experienced, but he's the most pragmatic also. I think he understands the compulsions of Pakistan, precisely the kind of points which I made. The burden on economy because of the relationship with India in particular. He has the courage to speak against the well-established opinions within Pakistan. For example, he's talked repeatedly of good relations with India. He's talked repeatedly of Pakistan having to go with a begging bowl to the international community, that we need to break that. So he's about the most experienced, but I think it's a crown of thorns. The army, puts someone and then doesn't let him or her perform. Even if a politician were very good, who can succeed in these kind of conditions?
Okay, a crown of thorns, very eloquently put there, Dr. Sabharwal. I thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast with your insights.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.